at Sabrachi Jewelry Design, or Sabrachi. I don't even say his name right anymore because of Zach. He's a sponsor of Now We Go, and he's a sponsor of this show. He's a dual sponsor. He's a gemologist. He's a jeweler. He's specialized in CAD design, and he's also a branding specialist. You need anything at all done in those categories, Matt is the best motherfucker for that. It's D'Antonio and Klein Jewelers in Philadelphia, PA, and he's also going to be doing it soon to be in Lehigh Valley, PA. You can call or DM for appointments. He's in Philly on 726 Sanson Street, and you can follow him on social media at Sabrachi Jewelry Design. He's made pendants for finishers. We're working on stuff together. It's not just jewelry. We're working on pendants and all kinds of things. He's making rings. He can do anything that you need, from design to gems to jewelers. He is the real deal, and I'm excited. He's a childhood friend who grew a diamond business. He's a jeweler. We did a podcast with him. It's a cool story. Check him out. Sabrachi Jewelry Designs. Influencer, TikToker, entrepreneur, OnlyFanser. At this point, I'm just adding ERs. Show stalker, Gypsy Sister Kelly Lynn. She's sponsoring the show. And all you little boys who hit me up in my DMs, look at that, man. She's in a bikini. Go pay for it. Go pay for it. Go over to her Instagram. You want to know what Kelly's doing? Guys and girls, because girls, you can learn what she's doing. She's making a lot of money. You go over to @theGypsySister. You click on the link in her bio. After you look at all her pictures, a lot of good content. She's putting out content. She's an influencer. She's crushing TikTok. So you get into that Instagram, and then you click on it. And then you got your links. You got all your links now. You can see everything she's doing. Everything. She's doing merch. She'll pick up a shirt or a pillow. You want to sleep next to her? That's what I do. I got 6 of them in my bed. TikToker. You want to see her dance a little bit? See her dance on the railroad? Go there. She's an entrepreneur, an influencer, a TikToker. We're doing a podcast together. She's got a webpage coming. Should have asked me to do it. It'd be done. And she's a counselor. Girls, you want to learn how to do what she's doing? Go check it out. All the information is at Gypsy Sister on Instagram. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for finally taking the step towards OnlyFans. And you can go check it out, guys. Get out of my DMs and get into hers. Thank you, Kelly. Mad J's Barbecue, www.madjsbarbecue.com. They take cash, they take credit card. You can order online. Order online is the easiest for everybody. They can also call in their order. They got 2 locations. They are killing the barbecue game. Started out small. Now these guys got 2 separate locations. They're doing catering. They're doing pop-ups at Seven Sirens Brewery. What else can these guys do? The Nazareth location is over at 52 East Lawn Road. Anybody knows where Nazareth is? It's down past 7-Eleven, right next to Rita's. Shout out Calandra. They are at 52 East Lawn Road, and that's 610-365-7275 and www.madjsbarbecue.com. Justin just opened up the 2nd location, and he is a part of Willow Creek Brewery, and that is 643 Penn Avenue, West Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be having these guys on the show, and they are crushing barbecue, catering, in-store, pickup. They're doing it all, man. They're doing it all. Check them out at madjsbarbecue.com, and thank you for being a sponsor. Precision Laser. Precision Laser is a family-owned aesthetic laser practice in Easton, Pennsylvania that was founded in 2019. They offer laser hair removal, laser tattoo removal, vascular and pigmented lesion removal, acne treatment, and more. Their team of licensed experts use cutting-edge technology and safe laser protocols to deliver you the best skin results throughout Easton, New Jersey, and the greater Lehigh Valley. They provide free consultations and affordable pricing to make laser treatments accessible to you all. To learn more about their services or book an appointment, please go to precisionlaserspecialist.com or call 484-306-0089. They are located at 42 South 3rd Street in Easton, PA, 18042. What are they running this summer? Hair removal. I'd like to get this whole thing removed because what do I want? A summer beach bod. They are running for $165 per session. You pick 2. Armpits, bikini Brazilian, upper legs, lower legs. This is what we're doing with them. I'm excited to have them, and I'm excited for them to be working with us. They're on the podcast. You can check out everything they're doing on the website, and thank you for being a sponsor. Look good this summer. Look good. No, at this point, I think we're into like 173, 174, 175. Look at this handsome devil.
Yeah, highly prepared for that startup right there, Michael. I don't know what just happened there. I'm like, okay, so he invited me on. You might know what day we're in. You might know what episode we're on.
I used to roll into these differently, and then some of the guests get nervous, and then if I build it up too much and I don't just start, then it gets like this real big thing.
Little
I like to go with the punch in the mouth and hey, we're going.
Nothing
and then
you got to
shimmy shake. I've known you, oh my God. What were we, 12, 13, hanging out at Dennis's in high school?
Yeah, middle school. You know, the Nazareth days, it's called junior high, and then middle school switched over on us. So maybe 7th, 8th, and then you came up. All right, I was probably in 8th or 9th, and you came up in that 8th grade class.
Yep, till 9th, and then they were like, Mr. Fauerbach, we'd like you to leave the school.
Well, I mean, you can't have you for too long. You got to get rid of you eventually.
Notre Dame took the biggest brunt, and then they were like, okay, just graduate him. Let's go.
Graduate. That's what they say?
Yes.
That's what they say in the industry?
Yeah, when you pay to go to school, you can definitely have a different conversation at the end of the year.
Can.
When did you start getting into running your own? I mean, I've known you for so long, and I don't want to get into too much different stuff because I do want to focus this on business because I think it's really cool that you grew into running your own business. When did you leave working a 9 to 5 and start looking into doing a trade?
Well, okay, that's probably sometime in 2003. I went from, factory type job to another factory type job.
Did you like factory work?
No, I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody likes it, but look, sometimes you get into it and then you move up a little, you get a raise every year and 20 years later, you're in the same position, running the same machine. No, you move, sometimes you move up.
I primarily worked factory. My father worked factory. That was always one thing they said. If you don't go to, it was different times. If you don't go to college, you got to work in a factory. But factory work was different back then. You could make a decent buck. And
of course.
If you got into somewhere, you had insurance and it was kind of like a holdover, unless like what you said, you kind of work your way up through it. So you were doing factory work?
Yeah, mostly. Like I remember doing like roofing when I was a teenager. I know. And I'm like, dude.
I did tree work. So.
And I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to do construction again. Like,
how long did you do roofing for?
Like a day and a half. Yeah. I couldn't. I hated it. I hated being on a roof. I couldn't do it. Like I was like, they're like, all right, well, can you bring the shingles up the ladder? I go, not really. I couldn't do that either. I was so scared. I was so scared. Of
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not great with heights, but I wouldn't be able to get comfortable with heights. And I'm too much of a clumsy idiot to. I would have fallen off.
Yeah. I mean, they put me on the ground at a certain point, and they're like, can you pick shingles up? I was
You're tall. I was like, you hand people things.
It's like, I guess. Like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So I did that for about a day or two, and then I was like, and no, it just wasn't for me. And I went into, the plastics factories and the textiles factories that are in and around this town, and well, I'm sure.
I worked at Kramer's Textile.
Me too.
Yeah. I got my arm caught in a machine there.
I did 7.
I still have a scar.
Well, that's.
You know what they did after that happened is they laid me off because they thought I was going to sue them.
Yeah, they probably did. But yeah, I did the night shift, 12 hour, like 7 to 7 p.m. to 7 in the morning. Yeah. And that was like the 3 on, 4 off, 4 on, 3 off shift. It was terrible, but
it wasn't hard work. But it was
hard.
Just hot.
It was hot.
Loud.
You had to keep up with things, and you get tangled machines. Whatever. It's textiles factory, but I did that kind of stuff. I just did all different stuff.
Yeah.
And then eventually a friend of mine was already in plumbing, and I was kind of bouncing from this to that, like job to job, not bouncing from job to job, but, I'd do this, and then I did that. I tried to get into sales. That was a disaster. And
sales is hard.
Yeah, it didn't work out for me. But
what was the first thing you tried to sell?
Security systems.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. And it was the first and only thing. But I tried to sell security systems, and look, I it was just a scam, really. It was not a scam on my end, of course. I don't know what I'm doing,
But it's the same thing as like Cutco knives.
Yeah,
and then
it's almost exactly.
You read it in the paper, and they're like $19 an hour, and or like you see it taped on like a stop sign, and you're like, oh, here's my mom's been praying. Here's what the good Lord's gonna give me. Yeah. And I call the number, and then I went to an interview. I'm the only one who's dressed up nice. I'm like, I got a couple decent jobs before this. Here we go. And you get in there, and they're like, well, we sell Cutco knives, and I'm like, fuck? And I was like, I let them give me the whole pitch, but basically they're like, you have to talk people into buying these and give demos, and then it's like a pyramid scheme, and then you just have to get other people to believe in the pyramid scheme, and then is that how the security systems was set up?
Almost exactly like that. It was the same ad every week in a real newspaper that got delivered to people's houses.
They do get you in there
because I'm a little I'm your age, so then everything was like you look at the classifieds, you look at jobs, and it was like $650 a week, and in my mind at that time $650 a week was like, holy moly, like that's gonna break me wide open for forever. And that's obviously how much I was making at the factories. You can kind of figure it out at that point.
Yeah, but back then I feel like that was a reasonable number to live off of.
It was more than reasonable. Yeah. That's why it was a scam, because they were pretty much telling you could make this much money, but in order to make that much money, I had to sell like 40 security systems a month. A month, meaning like more than like, I mean, that's like
I remember in the interview,
it was like 1.5 a day.
The guy being like, I started where you are. You want an office? You want to be on this side of the desk?
Exactly.
You got to get these numbers up. And then I was just like, I don't know. And I know a couple people who did it and made a couple sales and made money, but it's solely based on you have to keep selling.
Yeah.
And it's not even like worth, like it's a trap where if that's your life, that's all you end up doing is just, it's not even enough money to have room to breathe. We're like, I'm sure like, I don't know how car sales work. We'll just do some fake business.
Yeah.
So like if you sell a car, at least you have a little bit of breathing room to be like, okay, I made decent profit. That's going to carry me, instead of being like, hey, I made $60. I need to do this 10 more times today. And then the hours don't match up to the fuck all that stuff.
No, you work from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. But I'll get off of what I don't know, and I didn't know. I mean, I sold a couple of those security systems to literally like my friends and family. And
that's where they tell you to start.
They tell you to start there.
Ruin your relationships with close ones.
And they ask you for like a list of like pretty much everybody you know, and you're like a 19-year-old dude or a 19-year-old person, and you're like, oh, okay. And you just start like writing stuff down, putting numbers down, and like calling people up, and you're starting to like cold call people.
Yeah.
Then they give you somebody else's old list from like 2 weeks earlier who already quit. And they're like, well, here's a few more since you're not getting any hot leads. I'm like, hot leads? Like, you're not giving me anything. You're telling me to call my cousins. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? Like who am I going to call? I'm going to call my mom. I'm going to call a few of my friends. And they're going to, like, I was like, what they really did was like, just ask them that you can
vacuum sales.
You can practice. You can practice your spiel, your pitch.
Because you get paid for the demo. Just get in and get the demo.
Yeah, we did not get paid for our demo.
Did you have to do a demo? Or was it all over the phone?
Well, all it was call people up and set appointments. Show up in their living room, the kitchen table, dining room table, and go through this folder, this book. It's a binder, like the binders. And go through this book with pictures and horrible stats, like how many fires happen in a household in a one day? And they're like 40.
Do you know how many murders happen on this block in a week?
Because it was everything. It was like secure your windows, your doors, have like carbon monoxide,
and
fire.
The more you add, the bigger the bill gets. Yeah, upcharge.
Of course. Like you go in, like it's like $99 a month, but it's not. It's like
unless you want your kids to burn in a fire.
Yes. Like, do you love your family? And you're like, well, I guess. Like, I guess I do. But that's what it was like. There's like just hammer your family out, and then you'll learn how to do this.
Did it get to a point where you were just kind of? Because I know with me, with just I worked a bazillion different jobs. Like where you just kind of like start really being like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Excuse me.
Like, were you did you start realizing that you wanted to get a trade so you can go towards a union, or like,
no.
Did you start looking at different things, or were you just kind of like, I can work with my buddy who's got a skill set and maybe I'll learn something?
What he said to me, it was, I was working at a place that took big rolls of like, I'll call it saran wrap, even though it's not saran wrap, just to make it easier. Big rolls of saran wrap, and they just cut those rolls down to smaller size and then sold them to other companies that needed it at like 12 inches, 18 inches. Well, we'd get rolls that were like 36 inches or 40 inches, and people just needed to wrap like their pallets or whatever they had to do. So we would just cut these rolls down. So we would just be like it was like a middleman. It was a temp job. I got it through like a job at one of those agencies. Well, at the time, I needed something.
They were big back in the day. I don't know how they are now, but you could get placed.
Yeah. So I was doing that job, and I was like, well, this is just another one of those, you stand here and
and if you've had a bunch of jobs, by like day 3, day 4, you're like, God damn it.
Kind of. Like I put
stuck.
I put a paper, like the one day, I was working with this dude, and he was a really nice guy, really good guy. He's younger, maybe a little older than me. And at the time I was, I don't even know if I was 21, maybe 21. I don't even remember at this point, but, And I put like a paper clip in one of those like tape guns, and he's like, "Oh wow, that's really smart." And I was like, "Huh?" You know what I mean? Like, oh, like you came up with that? Like, it's like, it's not smart. it's not smart. Like the tape kept falling. Like it had nothing to like hold it in. It had like this little like clip thing that you had to like, those cotter pins.
Yeah.
Well, they lost it, and the company never replaced the cotter pin. I guess. So like you're constantly like holding the tape. Like to try to take, I'm like, well, this is just a pain. So I was like, I put this paper clip, and he's like, oh wow, that's a really good move. I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, it was kind of a pain. I didn't want to do that anymore. Like I didn't want to hold the tape like that. It was just a pain. Yeah. So anyway, and at that point, I'm like, oh. I was like, I don't know. Like this is just maybe not. I was like, all right, it's an easy job, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But, I started talking to some people, and this guy I knew for years and years, he was doing plumbing, and he's like, why don't you just come and do this plumbing? He goes, it's easy. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I never did anything like that. Like, I didn't even have tools, really. Yeah. And we're talking about, it was probably 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. And he's like, it's easy. You'll just work with me, and we'll just, it's like construction, but you just... You work, but you just hang out. Like we'll hang out, we'll work, whatever. It'll be like me, you, another guy, and I was like, well, I mean, okay. He's like, just come down and fill the application out, and I'll just tell the guy to hire you. And I was like, okay.
I've been in those situations. I did that with Tim and tree work and whatnot, and it worked out for a while. But it was just the weather. I could, you know what I mean? Like with getting the whatnot. But I loved working with one of my friends all day like that. I mean, it's and with DJ, it was very much like you're able, no matter if the job sucks or not, you have the company like. It's like when you go into those other jobs and you're like talking to that guy who's like, oh, the paper clip. Like when you're in that situation, you're just hoping that there's one person at work that's tolerable to talk to all day to pass the time because you're just doing monotonous stuff. Yeah. But I've had friends do stuff like that, and it's an easy foot in the door. And then if it works well, it's like it's a good path to go down.
Yeah, and it was obviously. But I remember, I was doing it for a few months, and I just wasn't construction savvy. I didn't really have many tools. I had like, a claw hammer, and I had a couple of miscellaneous screwdrivers, but Brady's like, just bring what you have. Just bring what you have, and we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like we'll get you what you need. I'll tell you what to buy, that kind of stuff, and then eventually we'll get you a bucket with a little bucket buddy around it, and you have a little junior plumber tool set. And that's what I did. And they started me out essentially on the ground. Like, go grab that, go bring in all the pipe. Go get the, go do this.
Did you pick up on it right away?
No. No, it took, I'll be honest, it's not easy. As I was told. It was much harder than I expected. And I was doing mostly new home construction from like like a house is just framed up with a roof, sometimes windows, sometimes doors, sometimes not, just a shell of a house, no siding. So it's brand new homes, all and just one after another after another after another. You just go down it through the development and just put plumbing in all these houses. So pretty much what people don't see is how I started. So I learned like the inside of the plumbing stuff, that like no toilets, no sinks, not even really water heaters. It's all the stuff before all that stuff goes in. So really just all piping and stuff and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I would imagine if you don't have a background in it, you didn't go to school for it, and you're just kind of learning, it's got to be a little bit of it's got to be a big learning curve to understand kind of how they run the plumbing and all that. Like my brother does union plumbing stuff, and I still don't understand the concept of plumbing at all. And like you come down here to work on stuff and you talk, and I mean it's how I am, where I just talk about stuff and just think that everybody knows what I'm talking about. But like it had to have been intimidating in the beginning, I'm guessing, because then it's like you're working around other people that are like already know what they're doing, and then you're just kind of like, ooh, what made you stick it out?
Well, I mean, I needed a job. You know, I really did. I wasn't one of those. I wasn't a kid at the time, but I wasn't one of those young adults who could just be like, well, I'll just not work. Like it didn't really work like that. Like I almost never quit a job before I had another job. I mean, my whole life.
That's how I was.
Like it was very rare where I was like, I'm leaving.
That's one thing my dad always said. I ever
did that.
My dad's like, I don't care if you go try and do something else, but do not give your 2 weeks, never burn a bridge, start the other job.
Yeah, that's kind of how I lived. My mom would say that, my dad would say. I mean, everybody that kind of around me, like, if you have something they're gonna give you money to show up and do a job, just do it. If you hate it, you can try to look for a new job, and you just go from there. You don't just walk away and then be like, ugh. What am I doing now? Like now you're
now that's when you start getting stuck.
Yeah, when you got like, I got about $60 in my account. I should be all right. Should be all right for a couple weeks.
I can get some smokes.
Yeah. It's pretty much it. You're just like, and you're like, okay, this shouldn't run out until I don't know. Thursday, and then you're like, oh, it's Friday, and I thought I was going to be.
Yeah, I thought I'd get a call back.
Like I can't believe they wouldn't call me. I mean, I'm such a great candidate for this job.
Yeah.
But so I didn't do that a lot. So I went, and what helped was we worked a good amount of hours. So pretty much every day we worked about a 10-hour day at my first plumbing job.
That's a real check.
And the day was free. It was a free day. Like when I say that, it's like there wasn't some foreman, supervisor right on top of us, like, how come this isn't done yet? It was like, if you guys get the job done in the allotted time that the boss says that you need to get the job done, they just come, they swing by every once in a while, check in, make sure that everything looks good. But for the most part, if you get it done in 2 or 3 days, whatever the number is, and you move on to the next one, and there's efficiency, and there's, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Then they didn't mess with you. You just work.
You're probably basically help for him at this point to get the job done faster, and it's taking a little bit of a load off of him. But then at the same time, he's training you or showing you kind of the basics, so then that way you guys can get to where you're going.
Yeah.
But learning at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely learning. I was a third man when I started. I was a third man on a 3-man crew. So you go in, there was a lead. And then there was like the helper of the lead guy who would do like most of the stuff that the lead couldn't get to. I mean, that's why, and then there was the helper who was, hey, we need you to cut this pipe. Hey, we need you to. So anyway, that's how pretty much everybody starts when you don't know what you're doing. Same thing with going back to roofing. It's like, can you just pick shingles up? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, can you just
get us coffee?
Can you just drag? Can you just drag pipe into the house? Like,
And
then I'm like, how do you guys carry these 20-foot lengths of pipe? But eventually you learn how to carry them, and then you almost laugh at the kid who can't do it, and you're like, oh, I was doing that, like you figure it out because there's no one, no one's there to hold your hand.
I think it's the best way to learn. When I used to work in screen printing, I mean, I don't know how it is anymore. I've been like disconnected from kind of those jobs that you kind of learn and you grow, and then you kind of like get something. Like the post office was totally different. But like I remember in the screen printing, it's like you start out catching T-shirts. Like, I had this dream of doing all this stuff, and I have to catch T-shirts at the end of a heater. Like you're just standing there, you catch a T-shirt, you look for a hole, and then it goes on. And it's like the same thing when I started out with Tree Works is, Tim and the guys would be like, you got to pick up branches. All right, what do you want me to do with the branches? Put the branches into the chipper. And then, all right, well, then they show you basically how to clean up. And then if you want to do more and keep pushing it and then be like, all right, all right, well, how do I run the winch? And then it's like you can learn and move up. And that's what I think I always liked about being in those hands-on situations is learning and developing a skill and then being like, all right, well, I think I can do this today. And then if you keep pushing yourself, that's where the growth comes, and then you start developing a skill set. And a lot of the stuff that I've done back in the day with, where even DJ with cleaning and the tree works and stuff is you learn skills that are available to use outside of work. And then like you just kind of like develop yourself as a better person. I feel like that's lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think we think it's lost. I think a lot of the kids or young adults are going through the same stuff we went through.
Yeah.
But we're just like, oh, millennials. Like, it's like, no.
I remember my parents complaining
they're
about
going to have to, like, slackers, like Gen X. It's the same thing. I think, I have, getting to me, but like I have a pretty young guy working with me right now, and he's in that generation. He's not a slacker at all. That kid shows up, and he's a young adult, he's a young man, but he shows up every day, does what he has to do. So it's like they're out there. it's a little harder maybe to find, because I think back in the day, like parents like yours or mine would say, there was no like, hey, you get to go work on a computer, or you could be a YouTube star. Like, there wasn't that. That didn't happen. Like, you weren't going to be a musician.
You had to go to Hollywood.
Yeah, you weren't going to become an actor or a rock star or anything like that unless you were, I mean, who became anything in Nazareth besides the Andrettis? You know what I mean?
Micucci.
Yeah, she did, but she was in more our age.
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman? he was from Nazareth?
Batista.
Yeah, I don't.
Also from Nazareth.
Is he?
No.
No way. Like,
no.
What are you talking about? Like, you're throwing me off
Kate
now.
McCucci's from Bushkill Township.
Yes, but she was, she was a few years younger than me, and she's done great. And
but the only reason she did great is because she was on like Romper Room and like TV shit. I'm just saying, it's like commercials and like how you got yourself out there was foreign to getting anywhere.
It was foreign It was foreign to the vast majority of middle class kids that are just like, their parents they weren't going to.
There wasn't Google either.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of things. So it's either your parents had to kind of really work on that stuff and help you with that stuff if that was your dream. And some kids were like, I want to be on TV. I want to be on the stage. And then you have to try to follow that, I think, with your kid at least a little bit and see if it catches on. But I'm sure her parents. Well, I don't know her personal story, so we're gonna just stop. We're just gonna stop. Business. Yeah.
Tim Dillon's the best. I catch myself doing it all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. No. You're just making stuff up.
We'll have to cut that out.
No, I mean, it's her parents definitely had to.
I would assume
they had to do that. And I interviewed her, and I think I remember, and I'm also making this up.
Yeah, thank you.
But she wasn't doing that. You don't have a phone back then.
You're not 8 years old or 12 years old running yourself to New York City to do this, or running yourself to even Allentown.
Taking a bus.
Yeah, like, the struggle for a 9-year-old actress or actor.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, you have to, that kid is, what they used to call a ham. Probably always wanted to kind of be, doing something, singing, dancing in the living room. And then eventually it was like, wow, she really, or he really wants to, it really looks like
she was in a propane commercial.
Boom.
Romper Room and Rescue 911. Do you remember when the horse and buggy person over in Bushkill, they were on like a horse and buggy and it got away and they got drugged through the school?
Yeah. No, I don't remember. I mean,
this is history.
This is a steel trap right here, obviously. I have no idea what you're talking about. But I'm like, yeah, cool. I don't recall the horse and buggy story, but look, I'm sure it
Rescue 911, it was a great show.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't remember that show? It was just 911 calls and they reenacted them.
I mean, I guess I remember, but I don't know if it was a show I watched a lot. But I know the name, but I certainly don't remember the I don't remember that specific story.
The whole point of that was
was there?
No, I don't care. This is how we talk every time we're down here.
I know.
This is why, like, every time you leave, I'm like, we should just do a podcast.
Yeah, and I go, yeah, okay. Then I leave.
So when I was talking about before with like building the skill sets and that, like, what was it like when it started clicking? Because I'm sure there was like, well, this is from my point of view, is I've had jobs, including the post office, that like it doesn't make sense, and you have to go in every day, no matter how much anxiety. You're like, fuck, man, like I don't understand this. Some days are like nightmares, especially if like you probably relate back in the factory days, but like if you didn't know shit and you got somebody breathing down your neck, I'm sure it was a lot calmer or whatever because you didn't have that, but like it's still intimidating to learn a fucking trade like plumbing and understand how all that goes. When did it start clicking that you were like, oh, all right, and things started becoming easier and you kind of started not just being the third wheel? They were like, oh, Jared knows stuff now besides how to carry the piping in. Like when did you start becoming like help?
Well, yeah, I mean, that happened at some point in the first year or so of doing plumbing. But it really happened once my friend broke off and started his own thing, and I went with him. And then I was...
Oh, so you guys were working for like a general contracting type thing?
We were working for like a large plumbing company at the time.
And then you broke off to do solo.
He broke off to do solo. I was literally like a year into my plumbing career, so there was no me breaking off and doing anything solo. I mean, I was still just kind of feeling my way through it. I was still like, oh, so it's supposed to pitch down? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was still just trying to, I wouldn't say my feet were being,
but there's a lot to learn.
But there was a lot more for me still. Like, I wasn't even close at that point. But he was. Like, he was a lead. He became a master plumber. I mean, he did all that stuff.
How do you become a master plumber? Do you have to put in a specific amount of hours and get testing done?
Yep, exactly that. Yeah. So you got to put a specific amount of hours in with a master plumber. First, there's a couple levels. It's, you just go, sometimes called apprentice, or then you become a journeyman plumber, and then eventually you're that for like, I think it's, maybe 3 years, if my memory serves me. I think you got to be a journeyman for 3 years under a master plumber. Then you're eligible to then take your master plumber license test. And
then when you get the master plumber license, is that when you can take on bigger jobs and get like contracted, or like is it better? It's obviously better to have it, but
you can pull permits. So if somebody is like, oh, we're going to build this house, you can now pull the permit for that house if the general couldn't or the homeowner couldn't for whatever reason. So it opens up some doors, but you certainly don't. Well, it opens up more doors if you're going to run have a big, if you want to have a big business, but that's more for, we're talking about big commercial jobs or big housing developments and stuff like that. You may have to pull large amounts of permits and things, but a lot of things, you don't necessarily need to pull permits for everything all the time. Service work is kind of like you can change somebody's faucet out without being like, hold on a second, let me ask the township if we're allowed to, put a brushed nickel faucet in. It was chrome before, so like, it's not that big of a deal. So, but not everybody can do it. And luckily,
so he had the master plumber license. You guys, or he started that business, and then where were you at when you kind of went with him? Was it an easy decision to be like, hey, I'm going to go with you, and we're going to help grow this business?
It was an easy decision to leave the company I was working for and then go with him. Yeah, it was an easy decision. I was like the 30th man at the company.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big plumbing company, to have like 10 or 12 trucks with 3 guys on each truck. That's a pretty big, plumbing business. So to go on a business, to go to a business that's just starting out and be like the second or third guy in that company, that's obviously a pretty significant jump. Now there'll probably be a little bit more work and that kind of stuff that goes on, but a pretty big jump to go from like kind of almost the last man on the totem pole to being like one of the top 3. Even if I didn't know that much, even if I was only plumbing for a year or so, I still had essentially that position. So for me, it was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna go. First of all, he's my friend, and then second of all, it's where I can only go. Not that I can only go so far, but I can only go so far in such amount of time. There's 20 people ahead of me. Like, where am I going to go? Like, they're all going to retire? No, they're 35, 40-year-old plumbers. Like, they're most likely not going anywhere. So for me, it was a pretty easy switch. Our transition, just to go and try it out. There was no reason not to. I was plumbing just over a year probably at the time, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go with the guy I've been working with this whole time. So then I just worked for him for an extended period of time.
How is that? Because now you're probably working on repairs and home stuff. It's not brand new homes again, right?
Well, it was initially. It was. That was his bread and butter, and that's what we did go right into new. Essentially, he did go right into new homes, and with the company, he just stuck with new homes initially. New homes was booming still. And so there was developments that he was able to get, and then we would just do new homes for a while, or for a couple of years probably do new homes almost exclusively. But then the housing market dropped out, and that's when things started to change, obviously for him business wise, but for me too. Pretty much up until that point, we're talking 2 or I don't know, maybe 3 years. That's all I really ever did. Was new homes. That's all I really ever knew. Like, I did some water heaters, I did this and that. We did finishes of new homes, which is toilets and sinks and stuff like that. Water heaters, things along those lines, things that people see in their house and they understand that's plumbing. But I didn't walk into somebody's house and they say, hey, that's broken, and we're paying you to fix that. We didn't have to do that. We didn't have to do that a whole lot. These were brand new things, brand new fixes. They usually worked. And if they didn't, like, you just yanked it out and put a new one in because it was brand new. You couldn't just be like, oh, hold on a second. Let me, you know what I mean? Like, it was either you could replace a part easily and quickly and like, look, that's good. or just take it out and put a new one in. Like, it's under warranty anyway, so we're not going to play around. It's somebody's brand new home. So you just do obviously the right thing, but not even that. It's just it just makes sense. It's quicker to just take out the old one that's not working correctly and just put a new one in. But that was like the extent of my service work. I didn't know anything. And then eventually, like I said, when the new homes kind of that fell out, maybe around, I don't know when that was. Maybe 2006, 2007, 2008. I don't know, somewhere in there. New homes kind of started falling off, and things started going kind of bad economy wise. You had to make transitions and shifts into different fields of plumbing, and that's when remodel work and service work had to come into play as a huge part of revenue for his company, and well, for me too. But I was an employee for him, so I had to switch it up, and I had to learn some new stuff that I've never did before. I mean,
what was that like? Because you probably got comfortable in your profession at this time,
Kinda.
and then now it's like you have to start over.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, that I would get so much anxiety.
It was
from that with
it was,
especially some people being like, hey, I need this fixed, and then you got to start troubleshooting.
Yes,
everything.
That's where things like, it's pretty straightforward when you go in and no water comes out of a faucet. That's like, okay, well, the valves are off or the faucet's done. Like the cartridge or whatever is done. You just either you can essentially fix that. But like, you go in, you got a gas water heater and it's firing, and then it turns off, and then it tries to I'm like, oh, and you just literally just call like tech support. And again, it was still, YouTube, I guess, was around then.
Yeah.
But it was like, that wasn't the same as it is now. Like YouTube now, you're like, I don't know. And then you just go on there and like, you just turn it counterclockwise, and then
that's how I hooked the bidet up. That's how I did my bidet, baby.
Yeah.
YouTube. I fixed
the Tushy.
My brother's. I wish I had a Tushy.
I don't know what it is. Yeah,
I forget the name of it. I'll never go back. What was it? I fixed. And it's funny because if you find the right person to break everything down step by step, that's how I learn, would be watching a video, not listening to like someone be like, this is what you need to do.
I understand.
But what was it? A washer dryer? Like, it's crazy. I'm trying to explain that to my dad now because he had an issue. And I was like, yo, Dad, like, if you just go on YouTube and like, I know you don't understand a lot, so like just hold the button in and say like, this is what I want to fix, but not speak in an accent.
Yeah, an accent that doesn't exist. Yeah. I'm not sure what country that was from.
I'm like, you can really learn how to do a lot of shit.
Yeah, you can. And look, and there's a lot of guys out there that are willing to put out the information they've obtained over an extended period of time and walk the really what they're looking at is walk the homeowner through something, and I do that. I do it in person when I'm at somebody's house. I mean, I do it all the time. I tell them, listen, you can't put, as much as they, we'll just get into, you can't put the baby wipes down the toilet. Like, you know what I mean?
How dare you? It says flushable.
Yeah, I know.
Flushable.
Because they're trying to sell you baby wipes. They don't care what happens afterwards. But, I try to explain that to people, like, look, I understand that's what it says, and I get it, and you can keep doing it.
What keeps it, what makes it clog?
Well, they don't break down like the standard toilet paper, even the big fluffy toilet paper, whoever makes big fluffy toilet paper. But even that stuff breaks down essentially with water. Well, a baby wipe doesn't do that. They're soaked in whatever, alcohol, aloe, whatever's in a baby wipe or a flushable wipe. They just go.
Why do they call it a flushable wipe?
Because technically it goes down the toilet. It doesn't clog the toilet necessarily, but it eventually will get caught in, like, we'll say a house trap, which is a U-bend. They'll start, especially with older piping, it'll kind of get caught in there.
The ones that are, because there's stuff that's not even PVC, right?
Oh, lots of it. And now it's starting to come out now. Now we're getting to the point where it's been in for years, decades and decades. So what happens is, the cast iron is the pipe they used to use a long time ago, which I don't know. But it gets old, and it gets kind of like almost like
rough,
almost like reverse fish scale, sort of like where they kind of start, like it starts flaking. Almost.
Yeah.
So then things start to get caught up, and when you're putting something down there that doesn't break down with water, it'll just hang on, and then another one will hang on, or another one, and eventually, and then it just.
Do you run into that a lot?
Yes, I do.
That's why you argue with me every time I say they're totally fine.
Well, yeah, they I understand. Like, it's just like if I could just keep my mouth shut and be like, yeah, flush them.
Yeah,
go ahead, flush them, and then but the last thing I want to do is do a job like that, which is not exactly, look, you're trying to clear someone's sewer pipe. It's not the most desirable job in the world, but it is a necessary job sometimes, and so you just give a quick not on YouTube, but you just give a quick tutorial, like maybe don't flush those, because you might have to call a plumber or me back at some point, and it could be soon. Like, there's no guarantee on a drain pipe, really. Like, I don't know what went down there.
And especially if somebody's renting and just doesn't care at all.
Yes, which is
at all
the time. All the time. Every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's often, and there's plenty of people to call for that job, and there'll be somebody at your door usually within a few hours, and in some cases, sooner. But it's all over the board. I mean, it's homeowner. Usually the homeowner. It's if you're dealing with a wife or whatever, they're always like, I didn't do that. Must be my husband. And then you go, it's
the husband's
then
like,
you go,
it's my
if
wife.
it's the husband, it's like, I told
kids,
her. I told
the
her.
Kids.
Yeah, sometimes it's the kids. And like, I tell her not to do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, I understand, and I really do. I understand. Like, I get it. I get what they do. They get you cleaned up. But maybe I'm not gonna get into that. But maybe don't do it if you can.
Yeah.
If you can't help it, then do it. Like, what? I'm not.
What do you care?
I don't.
Yeah.
I do. I don't want people to have to call. I mean, look.
No, I go through that with apparel where and I'm honest and upfront, and I can keep my mouth shut when somebody's like, I'd like to order 250 shirts. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't think that's what you should do. I'm not telling you not to do that, but like, I always am upfront with like, hey, like you should do it this way. And if you don't want to do it that way, I don't care. I'll make more money.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and I really try not to look at situations like that. But in reality, it's like you can do whatever you want in your own home, and that's fine with me. And I just try to give little pieces of advice. Another one we literally just talked about before the show started, I think, was the things you put in the toilet tank, like
the bleach.
Yeah, those bleach ones.
Yeah,
and I'm like, those they have bleach in them that could eat up some of your parts inside your toilet.
And I never even thought of that because I know not to get bleach on my skin, not to get it on my shirt, not to like bleach will fuck shit up. So why wouldn't it fuck shit up if you put it down the toilet?
It will over time. It will. It doesn't go down the toilet. It just sits in about a gallon and a half of water. And it does help clean your bowl out and all that kind of stuff. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. It does that. But it also helps eat up the parts inside your toilet, which, again, if you want to use it, feel free. I mean, because it'll last. It's not like it happens overnight. I mean, it could take years. But when you're talking about a toilet, that could last 20 or 30 years. Or something that's going to break down in 5 or 6 years, it's like, well, okay, you can call somebody back every few years and have them replace the parts in your tank, or you can maybe
stop doing it.
Maybe they have ones that go on bowls, and now it's just free advice. I mean, this is just professional free advice right now. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm putting myself out of business. I don't know what to do at this point. That's it. The call stopped. The call stopped right now.
Yeah.
But it's just, if I'm standing in somebody's living room or foyer or kitchen, and I'll usually give them a little bit of like, this is maybe something you shouldn't do. Yeah. But if you do it, go right ahead.
Cool. Call me back.
Yeah, kind of. Please call me back. Because, call me. If I, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to call somebody, you should call me. Yes, you know what I mean? No matter what.
When did you start kind of finding your own in that section of it now? Because now this is a totally different understanding of how things work, and you're fixing things that are broke. And I'm sure like once you start getting repeat things, you're like, oh, cool, I did this on this job. Yeah. This is a fix. Like, when did that all start kind of coming together where you were like kind of really, cranking jobs out by yourself or being able to go out on your own?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a to come up with one date or one time, it would be just it's too hard for me to come up with. But it was just over time. You just get more and more experience, and you start to see things. Pretty much, you just laid it out there. You see things over and over.
Stop using baby wipes.
Yeah, but no, that's But you see things over and over. You're like, okay, this is I gotta rebuild this toilet. Like, there's no way I'm just gonna replace the flapper and leave, because that's when you start to run in. A lot of times you'll run into issues like, hey, the toilet's just running. I'll just put this flapper in. It'll take me 10 minutes. I'll get a little bit of money. I get out. But this is, my experience was you learn, like, if I do that, then you might get that call back, and you don't, one thing about any service industry,
you don't want to get
you
called
don't really
back
want
right
those
away.
callbacks right away. Yeah, you don't want to be like, you just were here and fixed it, and then it's doing the same thing. And so unless you can truly justify something like, listen, we had to try this before we could do that. Like that's one thing. That's something you have to explain to each individual situation. But you don't want to say, hey, there you go, we'll see you later, and then they call you back in 3 days. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much the same.
You didn't do anything.
And you charged me. So that we don't want. In my industry, in a lot of industries. I mean, no one wants. I mean, I'm sure if you make a bunch of T-shirts and you have it misspelled or something.
No, it's the worst.
Wrong,
and like that stuff happens where it's like I'll get a call, and the last one that happened is Zach was like, hey, there's no XLs, and I was like, fuck. And I look back, and then in between the emails and stuff, I never put the XLs on, and I was like, son of a bitch. But like, you don't want those calls. It happens, but it's like if that customer's not Zach, that reflects on whether or not I get called back to do T-shirts. And then if Axelrad's busy and they can't get those shirts to them in a timely manner, now the person's like, I needed this for an event, and you do run into those situations. But I think that's like what's interesting to compare it to what you're doing is like you have to go through the stuff that you don't want to do. You have to have anxiety. You have to not understand things, and then you have to understand it and be in situations. And there are failures that I've done in that industry with clothing that prepare me for better handling a client better the next time, because it's like I've had stuff go wrong with T-shirts, and then now my business is better because I pay attention to that problem not happening again.
Of course.
Like I want you to get your shirts, and then you don't call me again until you need more shirts. But especially for like events and there's scheduled times, and then if like you're always at the customer's demand. So it's like if somebody calls me and they're like, hey, I have an event next week and I need shirts, it's like,
tough.
Or somebody's like, I need you to come out here now. What was it like getting into emergency stuff? Because that's got to be new now because where my pipe's broke. Get out here. I'm sure that's not fun to deal with.
No, I mean, it's not fun to deal with. I mean, when a true emergency, it's going to be nights and weekends. I mean, yeah, people can call, that's usually somehow when the real, like, oh my goodness, this is not good.
Yeah.
Like it's coming up in the basement, and it's like, all right. So you try to prioritize those jobs, and it's weird. I got into that with the company I worked with prior. Like we would do stuff like that because once we made that transition, kind of out of new homes into the service and remodel industry, you start to run into that stuff. A weekly or daily basis.
But it's also now becoming something that you offer as a service too. So
yes.
It's like now it's like your model of everything has to change. The plumbing's similar, but now you're kind of like maybe doing it backwards because you have to backwards think it now instead of doing the installation. You have to figure out where the problem started going back. I don't know. It would be difficult. Well, even with my brother when he explains stuff, I'm like, man, like there's especially like if someone does something down here and like this is an old building. And I mean, for instance, when you did this stuff upstairs, like you were just like, holy shit, like this is everywhere. Like that's got to be overwhelming, especially when you don't know what the fuck you're doing, as to oppose now where you have that time put in. But like it could get pretty crazy on where everything is.
It's harder in a building like this where it's multiple levels, multiple units.
From the 1700s.
It goes residential down to commercial, down to more commercial. Like everything is just switched, and walls are put up around things that you.
And then if somebody worked on something before you and it wasn't done correctly.
Yeah, that's every day. Every day.
Ma'am, you have this held up by a 2x4 and a shoestring.
Yeah, like all the time. I'm like, maybe we should put like a real hanger on that, like something to actually like. It's like, well, they used wire. Like that should do it. Like some dude found wire on the floor and like rigged it around a nail coming out of like an old piece of timber, and then they had a pipe hanging from that. And I'm like, we should probably fix that. Like we're here to, So I mean, we do. I mean, it's tricky. Obviously, it's tricky. I think the question led to that, but sometimes it's like, well. If I cut this off, I don't know where it goes past this ceiling that I can see. After that, it's all walls and ceilings, and we have no idea. So you try not to do that. You try not to guess in most situations. But everything, luckily with plumbing, it either has to run down or like run away or down, or it's not going to work. If you try to have something and it pitches the wrong direction, I mean, bottom line, one day it's going to give you problems. Maybe the same day. maybe a year, but every time you have something that's sort of flat or sort of back pitch, whatever your situation might be, eventually it's gonna clog. Now, water doesn't have to do that. Water's under pressure, but sewage definitely does have to do that. Any kind of drain lines. So, when you get to somewhere, and we'll just use a clogged drain, like a main line clog. If it's coming up, we'll just pretend like there's a floor drain. If it's coming up out of that floor drain, it's essentially in front of that floor drain because it couldn't be coming up there if it's behind that floor drain. So if you can start that floor drain, that's cool, but you probably not. So you're going to have to move along. And usually you want to try to find a nice big opening, like a pipe that you can hopefully has a cap or some kind of removable cap that you can open up, and then you can run a drain machine or something down, and then hopefully you can just clear it right out. But one thing about plumbing, it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, but it is relatively simple if you do it for a long enough period of time. I mean, certainly, like I said, it all has to kind of run down or away, like in some capacity. I mean, even the old days when they threw it in the streets, they throw it in the gutter, and hopefully that street is kind of pitching down towards a river somewhere, and it would just get to the river eventually. I think that's how they did plumbing back in the day.
That's still how I get rid of my waste.
Yeah, I know. I know. I have to come here and service your gutters all the
It would be the least amount of shit collected in front of the street.
Yeah.
So taking all this and whatnot, is when did you start going out on the jobs by yourself? And then realizing hey, I should probably just move into All Valley. When did you kind of really start thinking about I could start my own business doing this?
Yeah, that was probably sometime. It was probably sometime around 2015 or 2000, maybe. Yeah, we'll just say 2015 to make it easy. It started getting to the point where I was doing plenty of work on my own. I was doing all kinds of things that I used to always think I needed somebody.
How did that feel when you were leaving those jobs and doing everything by yourself?
Well, I mean, I guess the answer you should. I guess you feel good that you're accomplishing it, but you also just aren't embarrassed when you know what I mean?
Like, please, you're not turning your phone off.
Yeah, like when but this was I didn't even start my business in 2015, so this was I would still be working for a guy, and he was more experienced. He had more knowledge, more experience. So we would go on jobs together or whatever, and he would essentially kind of guide me through this is we might have to do this or we don't have to do that. I'm like, oh, okay.
I just remember being at points where I would finally be able to do something on my own. I'm like, all right, and then everyone was like, yeah, it's about time, dude. Yeah. We've been waiting for you to do this. So driving away, it's got to feel accomplishing to be this is fucking cool.
It does. I mean, you make multiple people happy in that moment. I mean, secondly yourself, but you make the homeowner or the tenant or the landlord, whatever. It takes the when you're able to accomplish something like that, it just takes the pressure off that person. When they're dealing with it on their own, they're lost. They wouldn't have called you if they didn't. They wouldn't have called anybody if they could have handled it themselves. And it feels good to give them a little relief and let them try to move on with their normal life. The few things that are just really hard for a homeowner are hot water, clogged drains, and just an uncontrollable leak are the things that they just they just freeze almost. They just start calling people, Googling whatever the situation is. So when you can help them out in that situation, it's kind of an everybody wins, and that's nice. It feels good, I guess, to simplify it. Just feels good to go in there and but go in there and do your job correctly. And you do get paid out of it too. It is a job, and everybody seems to be reasonably happy. Like I say, you make multiple people happy when you get to leave a job successfully like that. And as you get more and more of those, you just build more and more confidence, and then you start going in not even thinking it'll ever be an issue. You just think you'll go in, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Whatever it is, you can figure it out, and that feels even better. I'll get calls and I'll put them on the schedule and. I just show up, I don't just show up, but you know what I mean? I look at, okay, they called, they said it was this. I'm going to make sure I have this and this with me. That way, if I can that's probably what it is. If it's not that, then I'll have to, I'll run to a supply house or whatever the situation may be. But if it is, I can I could just fix it.
It's a nice weight lifted off your shoulders when you start having the self-confidence and, you feel like you've built your skill set up enough to just really start being like, I remember there was a time when everything was so crazy here, even like how I explained how everything was when you got down here. And I'm like, this is nuts, but I'm in the middle of transitioning and changing into a bigger part of this business. So like, it's all new things to me, but it's like, there is going to come a point where I settle down and I have the confidence. And I remember like, when I left my job and I was just doing this and I had this moment, it only lasted like a minute, but I was like, oh, you're just going to handle it. Mm-hmm. Like you know enough to get this stuff done. Stop worrying. Don't wake up and be like, oh my God, because like you've already gone through that and you've gone through enough of those mornings now to be like where you get a call to go out. It's just like, cool, we're going to fix this job. And then you've had every situation for the most part come up where it's like, all right, well, I handled this way. I handled this way. All right, well, there's going to be this, that, and that. And it's like, enough people at this point where if you had the troubleshooter make a call, like I have everything set up correctly to work. And then when you get past that, you're just kind of like moving the whole business along.
Yeah. It does feel good to not even think, but I mean, almost to know that you're good. You're good. Like you don't need to rely on somebody else.
And it's hard to get that. It's hard to get that moment when you're doing something on your own, mm-hmm. and like you didn't go to school for something and you're learning, or like even if you did go to school for something and you're still learning the job and the trade, and it's like it takes a long fucking time to settle in, mm-hmm. and it's like, and if you're thinking that way when you first get in, it's never usually works out. But I mean, if you put that work in, it does come to a point where everything kind of levels out and you're like, all right, cool. Like, I think I'm ready to start my own business. Or like when you start your business, you're at a point where like you're comfortable enough to just have confidence. Mm-hmm. And then you can be like, oh, cool. Like I can put up my number and fix these problems, and like that's got to be surreal for you to push yourself to that point and then get to an area where you're like doing your own plumbing and going out and doing solo stuff and probably calling back and checking in, and then doing so many of those to the point where you're like, hey, I think I want to do this on my own, and then just like this be my thing. And then now you went from all these jobs in the factories to getting into a trade to now, like when you showed up with your new van, I was so pumped for you because I know how much fucking work mm-hmm. that took to get to, here's the van. Because you don't start out with the new van.
I did not. No, I did not.
So like, where did All Valley start when you took the jump?
Well, I mean, I did. I started the business on paper in 2016, but I started the business on paper. There was no jump at that moment. That was just like, okay, I think I want to try to focus solely on service plumbing. Service meaning you go to people's homes or businesses, and you're going to fix an issue, or maybe install like a drain and water lines for a new sink or something like. I mean, it is relatively small, like when you look at the scope of the actual job, but it's big in the size for that customer. So you could be like, you replace a toilet. Well, yeah, but for them, it's a big deal. So, excuse me. Like I said, I started in 2016, and then I started just getting a little bit here and a little bit there, and I would schedule it for like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 6. I'd be like, oh, I'm swamped. I'd be like, because I had to work my job still. Yeah, I worked
That's
7
smart,
o'clock
though.
in the morning till like 3, 4, 5 o'clock at night. There was no, oh, you get to leave, you punch out. There's no punch out when you work. I mean, there is technically, but there isn't. Especially when you're in a smaller business, it's. Oh, the call came in at 2:30. Like, it's a clogged drain. Like, you got. I mean, you could either be like, oh, you could wait. Yeah, you know what? Just wait. You could do that, or you could be like, all right, I'll go grab my machine, or I'll change directions. I'll move this one job, and then, you know what I mean? Like, you got sewage coming up in somebody's basement or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but if you help them out of that situation, you become their plumber.
Yeah, hopefully, that's the goal. You put them first if you can. There's been many times that I've just been like, all right, I'll be out, and you just go out and do it. But
I think it was also smart that you stayed at the other job and then grew. The other business.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed there for over 2 years. So I started the business on paper, but there was no real business. It was just. I would get somebody I kind of knew needed a water heater or they needed a new outside spigot. I was like, well, I can do it on Saturday, or I can come,
working out of your car.
Wednesday night. Worked out of a car and then an SUV, and then eventually I got a van. And then, as you know, I mean, you just brought it up, but then eventually the van I got was an older burgundy van that I
miss Berg.
Oh, I still have her. I still have her. But she's just holding some materials right now. But she's inspected. She's ready to go out. She needs to get out there. She can.
But you can use that now to send somebody else out in too.
Or I would probably not want to roll up to somebody's house in that van anymore. But I could run the supply houses. I could pick up water heaters. I could bring them. I could grab this toilet was broke in the box. Like, guess what? We need another one. Like, all right. Then you just jump in the Burgundy Beast and you're rolling.
Burgundy Beast, was that her name?
That's what I named her.
So you were doing you were doing All Valley on the side. Mm-hmm. When did you have enough work or the confidence to go full time with her?
It was probably about spring of 2018. It was at some point I got a job where I didn't think it was going to be a crazy week or two. It was supposed to be. It was essentially a clogged drain. That's what the call was. Like, my toilet won't flush. And I'm like, Here I go.
Here I
go. And I put the drain machine down. I pulled the toilet because there was really nowhere to go. So I had to take the whole toilet off the floor and move it out of the way. Then I put the drain machine down and went in, and it just sort of stopped. And I'm like, that's like 1 foot. You know what I mean? Like that barely went in. It's like maybe 24 inches. So I'm like, So I was like, all right, I pull it back. I try again. I'm like, I'm hitting like almost rock solid. I'm like, this has got to just turn and go. Like it can't be like something's, I take it out and it's just mud on the end of the machine. And I know it's mud because I know the difference between dirt and not dirt. But I'm like, oh, that's not good. So I was like, all right. So I kind of I tried to tap it off and it was just packed. It's called a retrieving head. It was just packed in this retrieving head. I'm like, it kind of looks like a spring, sort of, not with a point, but sort of, sort of pointed at the end. And I was like, well, that's not good. I shouldn't see dirt in your sewer, your sewer line. It's a closed system. There shouldn't be, something's wrong. But I was like, all right, I'm just try again. So I put it in again. I pull out, it's dirt again. So I had to go to the homeowner. I'm like, listen, unfortunately, I'm just hitting dirt. Like, meaning most likely the bottom of your pipe or your fitting is just completely rotted out. And it's just going into the ground. Like my machine is just, so your sewage is going into the ground, which, okay. But my machine is just going straight down. It's not following a pipe like it should. So a machine should go in and kind of turn and follow a pipe. Any turn, anything, it should essentially follow. It just turns, like twists, and keeps moving forward as long as you have an auto feed machine. So it's just supposed to just keep moving down the pipe until it hits either an obstruction or a break or something like that. And then in this case, I mean, I was barely getting the machine in and I was pulling out dirt. So I went to him. I was like, listen, there is no fixing this quickly. Like, you're just dumping, essentially, you're flushing your toilet. It's not really going anywhere because everything is just collapsed on itself at this point, most likely. Mud and muck and everything is all mixed together. I was like, really, the only thing we could do is break up the floor, because he happened to be on a slab of concrete and his sewer ran underneath, like no basement or crawl space. So his sewer just ran underneath his foundation or his slab. And I was like, there's only one way to get to it, unfortunately. And it was like his tub, his toilet, and then like right across from his toilet was his sink. And I was like, I don't think we need to mess with that too much. But I was assuming we had like maybe a 3 foot, like if maybe I could get away with opening up like a 2 foot section and just replacing the toilet stuff. But that was not the case. That was not the case at all. But
how do you have to go about breaking all that up if it's just a slab? Oh my
jackhammer,
God!
A hand,
that's like worst case scenario for the homeowner and yourself.
Worst case scenario especially for the homeowner. I mean, for me,
you're getting paid.
I thought, I got to break this up. And I've broken a lot of concrete in my day. I've dug a lot of holes. I mean. So I was pretty confident that I'd be able to get this broken up and dug out in about a day or so. I mean, if something was weird, okay, maybe I'll bleed in the next day. I should be able to get this fixed in a few days. I mean, I was thinking maybe best case scenario, just doubly down for a day or two. Again, that was not the case. But, I got there and the pipe was completely rotten, just rotted out. Like
so how much did you have to take out?
Oh, well, a lot. Every time I got to a section, I tried to cut like a nice cut where I could put a fitting on, which in this case it was cast iron, so it rotted out. So any spot that
those are the ones you don't want to put the wipes down, right? The cast iron
or any of them, or any of them, all of them. Do what you want. Give me a call. I'm sure Michael will put my number on my website. Just give me a call. Do whatever you want at this point.
Just start a wipe business.
Yeah,
you start selling wipes on the side.
Yeah, just sell wipes are like sandpaper. Like, yeah, they shouldn't stick to anything. Anyway, I get there and it's like I try to cut it off and you use a grinder or a chain snapper. In this case, there was no room for a chain snapper, which we don't need to get into that. But I cut it off and the bottom just disintegrates away. It's just gone. So every time I try to get a cut, the pipe.
How far back did you have to end up going?
Well, I ended up in this case, everything ran into what we call like the main line. So everything ran into a 4-inch main line that ran underneath. So you had the kitchen. This house was very compact, which was also a little unfortunate, but it was very compact. So the kitchen was on the back side or the front side, however you want to look at it, but on the back side of the bathroom. So it's like the kitchen, and then right on the other side of the wall, there's a tub and a toilet. And the tub and the toilet, the tub and the kitchen ran together, and then they ran into the toilet, and then the sink from the bathroom ran into pretty much that same line, and then they ran in what should be a trap and just leave the house, but the homeowner put an addition on his house and then dropped a bathroom right on top of his trap, which maybe not the best idea in the world, but everybody does what they do. So now I have bathrooms essentially back to back and a kitchen back to the main bathroom, and I ended up having to take out the whole tub. Had to come out of its whole area. It had to completely come out, so I had to break up another 5 foot or so of concrete just to start getting, because it was all rotten and I just couldn't find any spot to attach to it. So anyway, I mean,
how was the homeowner with that?
He was luckily he was great.
Yeah.
He was really good. He had the issue for a long time.
Yeah.
But he just kept trying to fix it. So the problem wasn't getting better, it was just getting worse.
So what did you have to do? Replace all of the piping?
Almost all of his main pipe to like just about outside. So I finally found a good piece in the new bathroom, or the addition bathroom. So I finally found a new piece that I could attach it's a rubber coupling that can attach to cast iron, and then you can put PVC in it as well. So you can make a transition, because you can't put plastic and the metal and cast iron together. You have to figure something, you got to use a fitting for that. Anyway, excuse me. So I probably had to cut 8 feet or so, and it may not seem like a lot, but we're talking about everything had to come out of the bathroom on the one side, meaning the toilet was already out. Then there was a wall, and then there was a tub with another wall and a whole surround with a shower door. It all had.
How many hours a day were you there?
All day.
All day?
All day. I was by myself. I was there all day, every day. And I mean, for days and days, because every time I got to a spot, it was like, uh-oh, I gotta go farther. So I just kept having to go farther. And every time I thought I'd be all right, I went to cut it off, and it was just, the pipe would just fall apart. It was so rotten. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a pipe since before or after that job ever as bad as this pipe. And I was like, this was my, it was 2018, maybe somewhere in April, May time, and I thought I'd be there for a couple days. I could do it on a weekend, something like that. I'd make some money, a few $100. I thought, again, I didn't even run a business at the time. I was just sort of like trying to run a business, and so I ended up being there for, I think it was over a week when it was all said and done. Then I had
every day.
Yeah, pretty much every day, breaking it up, digging it out, replacing what I had to replace, figuring out, and then eventually I had to hydrojet the line because it was so full of dirt and muck because it was backed up for so long.
What's hydrojet do? Clean it?
Yeah, hydrojet essentially cleans it. I will call, like, hydrojetting is a high-pressure hose attached to a pressure cleaner, essentially, and it's got a special head on it that shoots water backwards. So you send it in, and it breaks everything up the best it can, and you just keep trying to work it in and out. And, it's it's just it's like the sort of the, I don't want to say the drastic way to clear a pipe, but when your pipe is full of grease or cinders and like sometimes floor drains and basements get a bunch of like, concrete and stuff breaks up. People, if you do get water in your basement, everybody pushes everything to their drain, and then eventually that drain gets filled up with whatever. Yeah. Well, you can't just break that up with a standard machine that just spins and goes down. Well, you can't always break that up. Sometimes you got to get a machine called a hydrojetter, essentially, and then you go from there. So after it was all said and done, I had everything replaced. It still wouldn't run, and it would still kind of like back up. It would kind of go down, and I was like, so I put the drain machine back down. I did this, I did that. Still couldn't get it. I mean, it was so full of just muck for months and months and months.
How long do you think he was running a broken toilet?
Months and months and months, I think. I mean, that's why it got so rotted out. I think it just was bad. It was already weak, and then water would just sit in it for days and months and whatever. So it would just, I think it just sped the process up. I think once it went bad, it never got good again. And it just kept, it just kept sitting in there.
So then a week goes by of you working on this, and then how do you fix it?
I just break up all the concrete. So about 8 foot of concrete, I dig about 8 foot of sewer pipe out. So I have to dig out, again, a 4-inch pipe. It's 4-inch pipe. But I have to dig that out by hand in somebody's bathroom that's like not a big bathroom. It's not like a nice master bathroom that you have plenty of room to work and somewhere to put the dirt. Nowhere to put the dirt. So it's just, I'm like digging and like setting it on something or putting it in buckets and then taking the buckets out because I can only put like maybe 4 buckets tops in this bathroom and work. So I'm doing that. I'm hauling all the buckets out. I'm coming back in and I could do that again and again and again until I get enough of the pipe exposed that I can cut something off and find something good to attach to. And finally I did. I mean, eventually I did. It was probably just a matter of time, I would hope. But eventually I got it all, and huge success, let me tell you. I got it all. And then I hydrojetted it, and the guy, I never got a block call from him again. So a block sewer call from, not that it's good, but I haven't heard back from him. So I have to assume
it's working.
It's working, and it was just a matter of he just, he had a major issue. And I think it just compounded over a matter of probably months.
So that was the catalyst.
It could have been longer.
That was the catalyst job.
I had to go to my boss and be like, "Hey, I got this bathroom ripped apart, and I'm in trouble, but I can't.
You can't walk away
from him.
Yeah.
And I had to. Right at that moment was sort of what pushed me to be like, all right, well, I gotta do it now.
Yeah.
Like I gotta finish this job. I can't let this go. I can't just walk away from this guy. I mean, not that I would ever have done that, but I mean, that's not an option. So I went to him. I was like, dude, I can't come in. Like, sorry, but I can't come in. Like, I'm taking my vacation. You know what I mean? I can't come in. Like, I'm taking this week or whatever it takes for me to get this done, and I'm doing it. And he was fully supportive and fully understood. And that's one thing that, I have to be super grateful for, was that he was never like, what do you mean? Like, you got to be at work at 7 a.m. He's like, well, if you need help, let me know.
Yeah, because I feel like he offered you probably the position way back in the day just to kind of, hey, here's a skill set you can learn that I'm learning, and you can build a career the way I am. It's good to have people like that in your life that, sometimes see you not struggling, but maybe, like not being able to go in any direction or just constantly getting stuck. And then it's like, well, here's what I did. You can take this information and learn it and learn this trade and take it wherever you want. Because I mean, at any point you could have just been like, hey, thanks, man. Like, I don't really, plumbing's not my gig. But you stuck it out. You went through all the bullshit, and then like that job. It's funny because that's usually how it goes when you start getting into shit on your own. Is like usually there's like let's say the first 5 jobs, something in there is going to be the worst case scenario possible. When I started doing apparel full time, I had clients that in the beginning were an absolute nightmare to work with. And then now I look back on it and it's like, well, I haven't really ran into anything like that. Well, one, because you learn, you learn how to do things easier, better. You kind of, can develop
how you're going to do things better because of the way things are in the beginning. But I feel like those are like make or break me moments. Like I'm like you saying that, I was going to follow up with like, do you think that there's people that would have just been like, yo, dude, I'm fucking out?
100%. I mean, some people don't even fix cast iron. I mean, some people are like,
well, you got to call somebody else. Here's my buddy's number.
I get jobs because like, no one wants to deal with it. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I've been, doing that for 15 years, 10 years or whatever it's been. A long time, 12 years.
It's work.
And I'm like, well, I can cut cast iron. I can use grinders. I can use chain snappers. I replaced like 30 foot of cast iron right down the street. And it was a customer. I think you know him, but it was a customer down the street. And he had it and he was worried about it. And I was like, yeah, I can come in. I can do this in just a few hours. And most people they didn't even want to. They're kind of afraid of it. I understand why to a degree, especially a young plumber who hasn't had to deal with it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't had to cut cast iron out. I mean, I remember when I first had to try to use a grinder to cut cast iron out, and my boss was like, "Yo, this is not something you don't play around. Like that, you can focus on this. You use this grinder. Like you'd think, oh, it's a grinder. Like." Yeah, but you're in a weird spot in somebody's basement holding a grinder, trying to get around a pipe and not letting that wheel like catch and fly, which happened to me once. But that was me. I was like stunt grinding with like one hand.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it. And it caught and flew. It flew out of my one hand and like came and like hit me in the arm. And I'm like, what the? Well, I was in the middle of a job, wide open sewer, and I ripped my arm open, my bicep open with a dirty grinder wheel. Just a dirty.
What'd you have to do? Did you have to get it sewed up?
Well, was
there steel underneath that arm?
It was not good. I finished. I just finished the job. I was there pretty much all day. This happened in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I just blew my body. I mean, I got stitches and stuff in my arm, and they were like, "Why didn't you come when it happened?" I'm like, "Well, I kind of had a guy's whole sewer wide open, and in hindsight, like I should have just went and been like, sorry, buddy, I'll be back, in a day or two." But meanwhile, he wouldn't have been able to do anything at his house, water-wise. He wouldn't have. He could run the outside spigot. That would have been it. Like I'm like, yeah, you can set up a little kiddie pool and put a, like, what am I going to say to him? Like,
I think that goes a long way when you put yourself in the person's position.
Yeah, I couldn't just leave.
This would suck.
Yeah, I couldn't just leave. So I was like, I did leave to go to CVS, and I cleaned it all out the best I could. I wrapped it all up. I bought a bunch of stuff that I think is still in my truck because I haven't had an accident.
Medical kit.
Yeah, I haven't had an accident like that
burgundy
in quite a while. But it came across my body, easily could have hit me in the face.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously no one wants that. But I mean, it easily could.
Not with those rugged good looks.
But you just take the tip off, right? But it easily could have hit me in the face, my eye. I could have just been done. And I was like, and I remember, and my former boss, but my friend was like, he's like, what were you doing? And I'm like, well, I was trying to cut it. Like I tried to make an excuse on why I was doing something stupid on a job that I shouldn't have been doing. But I was on my own at the time, and I told him about it. We still talk pretty much every day. And I told him about it, and he's like, you were grinding with one hand? Like, and, I could get into what he really called me. But it was you know what I mean? He was like, what were you doing? Like, why would you do that? And I'm like, well, and I tried to justify it. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, well, what? I'm by myself. Like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
And I didn't even have an excuse. I'm like, that was just dumb.
Yeah.
So, like, when I'm trying to train somebody or I'm trying to do it, I just hammer it home. I'm like, dude, you don't do something dumb just because, I don't know, you think you got to get the job done. If it's dangerous, just stop. Let's evaluate it. Let's not do anything dumb. Worst case, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like I'll do it and at least try to show you what I would be doing. But don't do like I did. Lots of people do dumb stuff to try to get jobs done. And I don't mean like half weighing something. I mean like you put yourself in a position that's not the safest position in order to try to get a pipe to a certain point,
or satisfy the customer,
or just to get the job done.
Yeah.
I mean, most times customers not seeing.
And it's difficult when you're by yourself.
What you're doing.
You don't got somebody to be like, hey, can you pick that end up? And then you're balancing shit out. It sucks.
Yeah, you do a lot of things you probably you're surprised that you got away with, but it's not to impress anybody. It's the only thing you can do to get it done, and you just gotta try to get it done.
So you got the that job just sounded like a goddamn nightmare. So you got that nightmare job out of the way, and then that kind of was like, you know what, I'm just going to start booking stuff pretty regularly.
It seemed like that job, I got on this lead generating app at the time, and it was like, I wasn't really getting many jobs from it. I couldn't really understand how to, I would send my estimate, I'd pay money, I'd send my estimate. I mean, I wasn't really making that much money. I was working full time. So, I mean, I was making money working full time, but I mean, like on my own with the business, I wasn't really making any money. So, I would send my estimate or my quote, and I'd pay to send it, and then I wouldn't get a response, and then I'd do it again, and I was doing, multiple. It just wasn't getting any. Like, they were either hiring other people, or maybe they were fixing it themselves, or their neighbor was a handyman. Like, I don't know. I wasn't getting it. So, I got that job, and I got a good review. The guy gave me, essentially a 5-star review. I mean, again. Sometimes, you do what you have to do to get something done, and maybe it pays off. And it seemed like in that case it did. I got a really good review on that app, which is it's not like Google. It's if you go on that app, everybody can see, like, essentially you booked this job, you did the job for this customer.
Almost like Yelp.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just, then they see, like, oh my, Jarred and All Valley Rooter did this, and he was great, this and that, and like 5 stars, all this stuff, and then it just seemed like that app started to work better and better and better and better, for a while. I mean, I got a lot. I mean, I got a good amount of work. I think I got, like, not to toot my own horn, but I think I have like 30 or 40 essentially 5-star reviews on that app.
That's huge.
And they call it, a top pro on the app. It is what it is, but it for me, it was a big deal. I mean, it was, you were in the 95 or up percentile on that app, and I just kept getting more work and more reviews, and it just kept going. So pretty much from that job is when I thought, well, okay, if I can do that, like if I can get through that job, which is like surprise after surprise after surprise. Maybe I could get, I could replace a toilet.
Yeah.
Maybe
everything seems so much easier after you do the hard stuff.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where, I mean, it could have, that probably, I mean, I don't want to say make or break because I was working a full-time job, but it might have it could have made or broke that.
Absolutely, it could have. I know.
I could have just been like, all right, I can't do this. Like, I'm just gonna tuck tail and go back. And
I know people that pick up side work and over the years and in all different facets of professions, and they go in to do something and it turns into something like that, and they wash their hands with it, and they're like, that isn't for me. Yeah. I don't want to deal with it. That's not, this is now all on me. If this happens, I got to deal with the consequences. It isn't like, all right, well, if I go in there and I'm working for somebody else and something happens, they got to deal with it on the back end, or like you can walk away from the job. Like when that shit's yours and it's your responsibility, and not everyone's this way, but like, how I look at shit is like, all right, well, I have to finish this job. Yeah. And there's people who get into situations like that and get a really bad taste from either a terrible customer or way too hard to work, and they walk away from it. And then they're like, I don't want to do this shit at all. But I feel with where I'm at now and with running my own businesses, like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah. The freedom and I mean, it's way more work, way more pressure, but to be able to wake up and kind of like your day is set by you, that means more to me than a paycheck.
Yeah, no, it's nice having a little bit of freedom, and I do have a little bit of freedom. But I am at the mercy of.
Well, the freedom I feel is that I book it, I set it up, I do it. Like, that's what I mean.
You're right.
I mean, there is times where I can be like, hey, Jarredd, do you like when you're like, hey, you want to grab lunch in town? That is nice, but my freedom for it is more like I have control over setting it all up. I can put the amount of work on that I want to do. I can, and then it's, when you got those 30 reviews, because that's your work. It wasn't somebody else getting the credit because you busted your fucking ass every day. And that feeling's totally different because I've worked in a million factories than when you get it yourself for the hard work. Because then it's worth it tenfold, I believe.
Yeah, it is. When you do get that when you get recognition, I guess it is nice. Hopefully, you keep that ball rolling and you just keep going, which is exactly what I've tried to do. I've tried to not take too many steps back. I've just tried to keep moving forward. If something comes up, I mean,
it's been cool to see the progression just from when we would always run into each other going out, or I would see you, or we'd yell at you for a while when you walk your dog. Is that purebred?
Yeah, that's purebred.
But I always liked that we interacted back and forth because we always joked around growing up. But then when we started working together, it was really cool to even see from when you had the burgundy van to when you got the new van. And I was like, holy shit, dude, like you're really making this fucking happen.
Yeah.
And then, then hiring employees and all that. What's that like being at the point now where it's like, because it's got to be surreal because, I've driven vans like that. I've had situations like that where you sacrifice. It's a sacrifice that you put up with until you get to what you want to do. Yeah. But then when you're rewarded with that new van, it's got to feel different driving it and then being like, oh, man. And then now you're looking for employees. And like, we were talking about your new employee and you're like, man, he's been with me for 4 months. And I'm like, that's huge. And like, now you have so much work, you need help. Yeah. And you're talking about sending him out by himself. Like, how does that fucking feel?
I mean, it feels great. It feels like exactly what I wanted, and at least the beginning of what I wanted. Like when I first thought, I'm gonna really try this. I was like, one thing, I could bang around for the next 20 or 30 years, plumbing, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I would like to be, I'd like to do exactly what I'm doing. I mean, progress. Get a new van, get a guy, get another van, get another, you know what I mean? That's what that's what my goal was, essentially from the beginning. I mean, from the beginning, in reality, I mean, it's maybe not 100% true, but in the beginning I was like, well, if I can make what I make for my, the company I worked for, and I could do that on my own, and I can kind of set sort of my own hours, like that would be cool.
That's what I believe is how it usually starts.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Like I'm like, if I could just make that number, and I don't lose money on jobs and things like that, even though I certainly didn't make what I, probably what I should have been making, but I didn't know anything. So if I could just do that, that means I can pay all my bills. And I could do it on my own. And if my Tuesday is available, I don't have work on Tuesday, but I have work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like I should, like that'll be good. That'll give me Tuesday to try to figure something out. Maybe I can, do something here, do something there. Or, I didn't take a whole lot of days to kind of just hang out on the couch. But, you had that luxury that maybe you could move a job around. Maybe if, you weren't feeling good, you don't have to, that call. Hey, I don't feel good today. The call, that even when you don't really, when you really don't feel good, just making that call is a little bit, not that you get too anxious or have too much anxiety about that call, but you know what that's like. There's almost like disappointment on the other.
Yeah. It's always like it's like calling your parents to tell them you need to be picked up from the police station. It's just like, hey, and then like there'd be times where I was sick, and then like they would give me like doubt, like, oh, are you sure you're okay? And then I'd be like, well, wait a minute, am I sick? And then like then you feel bad for taking off, and like
or you feel
all
better
that
at
shit.
Like 10:30.
Yeah. Like, well, maybe I should have went in.
I should have just went in, and then because then what if I'm sick? But anyway, like when I'm sick or something's happening personally or something like that. You can, in my situation, luckily, I can, at this point, I can move something. I'd be like, listen.
It is nice to be able to put yourself first.
Yeah, I know I had you scheduled for Wednesday, but I need to move you to like Thursday afternoon, and I will finish that job on Friday if need be. But Wednesday, something came up, whatever it is, I won't be there. Pretty much, I won't be there. Like, I don't have to make an excuse, but I'm giving you, like, I have something that I have to do, and I will be at your job the next day and the following day if I have to be. And, it is a different feeling. I mean, you do have to kind of give people heads up. It's just a professional courtesy. But, you don't have to make that 6:30 in the morning call, or if you're lucky, you get the text. Your boss.
Yeah.
Not feeling good.
Cough, or sad emoji.
Not coming in. Like, I really wish I could. But that call you don't have to do, which is nice. So there's super nice things, but there's everybody looks at the boss. Everybody looks at the boss like, oh, the boss. Yeah. There's so much that you have to do that you're just like, you just forcefully, going to work and doing the plumbing or whatever you happen to do, you've done that, you've done that for years. Like that's annoying, but it's not like, I gotta go home and I got like 3 invoices to write up. I got this guy who wants an estimate by Friday.
scheduling, moving stuff around, booking things, family life, you know, and then everyone always forgets about regular life.
Yeah, just normal stuff.
Yeah, which is really hard to balance because you're so focused on getting everything done and keeping your, you know, your reviews and all this stuff, and then you have a family to attend to, and then it's like, then you try and make time for yourself, and then it's just like, it gets crazy, but it's still better to me than, you know, that drive into work.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Especially if you don't like a job. And I always stress on here all the time, if you don't like a job and you are driving into something you don't like doing every day, and there's people who do it all the time. There's people who listen to podcasts to get them through a job that they fucking hate. Yeah. And the trade-off of all the things that are the worst part about working your own business are definitely way better than not fucking enjoying anything that you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, luckily, I remember when I look back and when I first started plumbing, I'm like, dude, I hate this. Like, I don't think I can do this. I'd be standing on, it might not seem like much of a ladder for a roofer or a siding guy, but I'd be standing on the top of a 6-foot ladder, and I'm approximately 6 foot, or maybe a little bit more, and I'm standing on the top of a ladder, completely uncomfortable, holding on to hot, like not hot, but it would be like I'd be sweating. I mean, it'd be summertime. In an unconditioned garage that if you got a breeze you'd be lucky, but and putting copper pipe with copper fittings and flux together, and your hands are all essentially greasy. You're standing on this thing, the top footing, or you have one foot on it and like the other foot down just to try to feel safe, and you don't. But putting this stuff together above a garage that's not poured, so you're in stone, like uneven stone on top.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, dude, I can't do this. Like, I can't. I've never done this kind of stuff in my life. Like, I can't. Like, I worked in a factory. I worked at a manufacturing place, or, you know, whatever. I was like, I can't do this forever. Like, how can I do this? And, you know, I just pushed through and just kept. And that was in the beginning. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Like, I might not make it alive, let alone make it like through the, you know, if I fall, I'm falling 12 feet, like from my head to the ground is 12 feet. Like, I'll be lucky if I can get my, you know, break my tibia on my way down. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be lucky if that. But, you know, and I got through it, just pushed through, and eventually here I am now.
There's really no better way to wrap up than on a statement like that, because I know what it's like to have all those factory jobs, and, you know, we've known each other for so long, and to watch you literally take, you know, a career, or, you know, take a trade and then turn it into a career, and then see, you know, you have the van and then grow into the new van and now be hiring in employees, and it's like everything looks so pro now, and I know how hard it is to get to aesthetically looking pro while you're still trying to make money, while you're still trying to grow it. But I mean, the whole point of why I wanted to bring you on here is, like, you didn't stop working. You didn't stop working at the one thing that you kept pushing at. And after that story about being on the ladder and all that stuff, is like, you literally, if you don't stop working and you keep working at something, and no matter how hard it is, and you make all the sacrifices and you're digging into it and you give all the excuses in the world and you keep pushing past that, you literally can get to achieving goals and things that you want. And it's like, to have known your story before we even did this interview, and it's like, you just got into it working with a friend, and then you turned that into working by yourself, and then started All Valley, but then kept another job, which I always stress to people to do. When I started this, I was washing dishes at Widows. I just hit him up to come on because I want to thank him for that job, because if I wouldn't have washed I don't know anybody in their 40s that I know, or 38, would be like, I'm just going to go wash dishes. Like, you have to suck up. You have to do shit you don't want to do. You have to make, and it's so dumb because it's all cliche stuff people say, but it's like, you have to do all that shit to get to where you want to go. And when you get there, all the sacrifices, all the hard work, everything you did is worth it, because you're finally, like, enjoying yourself, because, like, you would have been miserable staying in factories, because you did that much work to get here. When you're in those factories and do that kind of work, most of the time you're not rewarded. No. You're just usually like this employee, or like, hey, Gus's friend Randy's coming from this factory and we're going to make him manager. And then, like, well, what do you mean, this guy that nobody knows? And, like, there's so much bullshit. And I feel like if you get onto a path and you focus, and even if the direction of focus isn't even where you want to go, I just gave this advice to somebody the other day. I started this as a clothing company. I used to sell t-shirts out of a bar, and then this all turned into this, and where this is going next, I don't know what to think, because when I hit the next level, that's where I thought I was like, that's what I wanted to do when I was 28 is what I pictured. But no one realizes the amount of fucking shit you got to go through. And then you got people dying, you got fucking regular life, you got crazy women, kids, whatever. And then if you just keep focusing, and even if the focus changes and you keep focusing on goals and getting shit done, it usually blossoms into something you want to do. And you are the true testament of busting your ass, hard work, and creating something out of nothing. And it's the whole reason I wanted to bring you on here. You were worried that we weren't going to have anything to talk about, and we were totally fine. And you are you've been a close friend of me since we were kids. Yes. We've always connected and would dick around at Dennis's on the couch, and I'm glad our lives constantly crossed over and over. But I want you to come on and do more stuff with the show. I wanted to get this out of the way so you would be more comfortable doing things. But I want to thank you for coming on. You were one of the earliest sponsors that I have to reach out. That meant the world to me, because at that time, I didn't even know what to fucking charge people. I didn't even know if people would want to pay. I didn't even know. And like, we've had some conversations that I won't forget. And you've done some things with me early on with this that I will ever be forever thankful for. So I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mike.
I'm going to give you a minute to plug anywhere anybody can get a hold of you with All Valley Rooter and everything that they can kind of follow on social media, or if anybody needs a plumber.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can allvalleyrooter.net is the website, which obviously you can go there and figure out what, try to find out what we do. Well, we pretty much do anything when it comes down to it. When it seems like it's plumbing, we pretty much do it. But mostly, I mean, I have the Instagram, I have all that stuff, but the easiest way is probably just calling the number you want.
And the website has all the info on it as well.
The website has all the info. I mean, again, it's probably easier just to give the website. It's allvalleyrooter.net.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's .net, which is a little different, but
no, I like it.
Somebody in Temecula, California had .com. I'm like, really? The only name I call? It's like,
At least it's not connected to school shootings. I can't even get I can't even get neveragain.com.
So, I mean, I don't know if All Valley Rooter. Well, again, it's allvalleyrooter.net. So now I messed it up. Thanks, Michael.
I always close wrong.
Just let me out to hang. Right? I can't do that. I thought you were going to do all that.
No. I always give everybody a chance to kind of plug anything they're doing as far as promoting and stuff. But you sponsor the show, so everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
But I wanted to bring you on to put a face to the name. If you're a first-time listener, first-time watcher, first-time anything, it's neveragainstudio.com. That's where we have our apparel. If you need apparel made for your businesses, I can help you out. I work direct sales for Axelrad Screen Printing. If you want to sponsor the show, you can contact me directly, or there's an email through neveragainstudio.com. All the stuff on the website is, I've fucked up the last 3 closing. I was doing so good with closing these, and then I stumbled over probably 2 episodes ago, and I haven't been able to get through it anymore. I don't know what that means. I don't know if we should just stop doing the shows from now on. Just kind of shut down Never Again completely as a whole.
You're doing it with nothing in front of you. I mean, you could write it. You're trying to wing it.
Well, I usually I like winging stuff because then it doesn't sound scripted.
Yeah,
but then
you could have
bullet
points.
I know.
So you don't miss them.
What it was the other day, I was like, well, you should stop saying if you're a first-time watcher. That's stupid. You should just say, hey, if you go to the website, you can get the video or the audio. First-time watcher. First-time watcher.
Well, yeah, I know. But look, you want to get it out there. But yeah, I mean, you could put bullet points.
New studio. New studio. Because I can put a monitor up, and then I can have things that there's a lot with the new studio that people are like, oh, you're moving the studio. It's so cool down there. It's also, this isn't set up to do this. We did this and it's wrong. Mm-hmm. And then now when we move it, all these camera angles I'm not getting into any of this.
Yeah.
Neveragainstudio.com. You can go to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. I want to build the YouTube up. I need to get my YouTube following up. So that was stupid to say too. Hey, I want to get it up. Then you should get it up for me.
Everybody, well, not everybody. There are first-time watchers.
Yeah, first-time watchers. It's all peeping Tom through the fucking
It's
thing.
weird because I googled never. Now I'm just gonna keep going. Now.
And I had it on you. I was just closing out, and the camera's on you.
So I'm looking around.
I'm sweating now.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Neveragainstudio.com. We also have nazoammo.com. We have more ammo coming in. Keystone Munitions worked with us. You can go to nazoammo.com, and we have 9mm as of now. We're getting 45, 5.56, 223. All that stuff's coming down the pipe. If you have any questions on that, just hit me up directly. That's the easiest way. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm done with this fucking shit. Go to the website. Go to another website. Call him as your plumber. I'm out of here.
That was
we got to go.
Didn't go well. I'm done with this. Jesus Louise.
I'm going to bring you back on and
kidding,
talk MMA shit, too.
Let's wrap it up, Michael.
Yeah, we're done. Let's get out of here.
We're both sweating. Yeah, we're both sweating.
Turning all red.
Yeah.
Like there's pressure to doing this. Get the fuck out of here. Seriously, and neveragainstudio.com.
That's the best one. You should go to that one. I won't shut up.